Welcome back. Entrepreneurship is one of the hardest professions in the world, but there are things business owners should focus on to give themselves an edge over their competitors.
Sun's company now has a chain of 30 stores called the Hatter's Hub, selling its hats under 2 brands in 9 cities in China. 3 of the flagship stores are in major fashion centers in Beijing and Shanghai.
其实田字坊也好，三里屯也好，就是只要提到这两个。
When people think about places such as Shanghai's Tianzifang or Beijing's Sanlitun, they think of a trendy lifestyle. We think hats have that type of character too. You need to have that sort of a leisure lifestyle, so you have the time to appreciate them.
都去逛，所以我觉得选这两个地方是有点这种情节的。
The remaining outlets are in the department stores. That was difficult at first because the big stores have tough entry requirements.
通常人家那个代理商都会觉得说，我干嘛？
Department stores prefer apparel brands. They also like big brands, but we're not sure if they're actually imported or not.
那国外的会比较好进。
Everything is working well so far, and the team believes branding is promising. They have moved the business partly online too. They also plan to take customized orders in the future, which will put higher extra value on every single hat. Another vital part of the business process is choosing a good design. Sun first decided to use foreign designers, but he found that their designs weren't suitable for Asian faces. They were also expensive. He then decided to work with professional schools to train young designers.
We are cooperating on classes with them. We also select students who are particularly interested in hats and send them to the workshops as interns. If students have good designs and they like to work there, they can get a job with the company after graduation.
Sun's chief designer Sui Yida is a graduate of the prestigious Beijing Institute of Fashion Technology. The final factor that is crucial for Sun's company is creating a hat culture in China. Sun has opened a hat museum in Nantong that showcases 600 hats from ancient times to the present. The next stop is the movie theater.
我想上面拍帽子和帽子文化有关系的微电影。
I want to produce some short films about hat culture next, showing how hats are made. We can start from the germination of a seed to show how cotton hats are made. I think that will be very interesting.
而对全面的帽子呢，我们可以以种子发芽开始拍起，我觉得这个很有意思。
There's no question that it's vital for a company to establish brand equity in order to be successful. But comment on the importance of establishing this brand image.
Right. Well, I think establishing brand image is very important for at least 2 reasons. The first one is it brings the brand recognition to your company, right? So when you go out as a general consumer, when you go out purchase items, you're more likely to purchase an item of a company that you're aware of, or at least you've heard
Familiar
about,
with,
right?
that's right.
Exactly. And another importance of establishing brand is the brands will directly translate into financial values, right? So brands are very important and valuable intangible assets for the company, especially if you're publicly traded companies. We've done a study that shows for these companies, having a high brand value actually translates into a higher market capitalization for the company, right? So you do generate additional benefit and financial benefit from establishing a brand.
Because consumers tend to associate quality and the usage, duration of this product with your brands as well.
That's right, yeah.
Mr. Sun's company has a chain store called the Hatter's Hub and actually selling hats under 2 brands. They currently have about, I guess, 30 stores in 9 Chinese cities. How can a company expand from here?
You know, his business actually reminds me of another successful retail store, Zara, which is known for its fast fashion. I think there is a bit of similarity and some success factor, you know, of Zara that can be borrowed or learned by, you know, Mr. Sun's business. So if you look at Zara, I think there are several major success factors. The first one is very short lead time between concept and design and the end users, right? So once they come up with a nice design, the next week, you know, the product is already being displayed at their physical store. Very short lead time. And the second success factor is actually scarcity. So if you go to Zara, oftentimes they only offer a small quantity per style. Right? But a related success factor is the fact that even though per style, the quantity is small, but they do offer many, many more styles than compared to other retail stores, right? So if you go there every week, you'll find a new design, right, coming up. So I think in combination, these three success factors will keep Zara look fresh and also desirable, especially for young people, right, who are really into fashion, who are really into clothing. So, but to support that kind of business strategy, you do need several key enablers, right? So the first one is actually extensive market research. You have to stay close to your customers and understand what they like, each season or each year. And also for that strategy to work, you need a very tight control. So you need to be able to mobilize a lot of resources across, multiple departments and across multiple functional groups. Right?
That's what Zara has, right? Centralized operational system.
That's right. So very efficient, and tight control over their internal operations. And a third enabler is actually communication IT. So a lot of internal communication is actually facilitated by a tight IT system, right? So that they can reduce the lead time between the design and the product going to the market.
And we see Zara has successfully expanded to all over the world, and its founder didn't become the richest man in Spain for nothing. Right. Professor Jia, when I was in B school, I took a family business course, and the biggest question a lot of these family-owned businesses they face is the fact that they have problem finding succession, and this is a very prevalent problem in China as well. So can you comment on the situation here in China?
Your intuition is exactly right, Tracy. It's very true. I mean, even in China nowadays, a lot of family-owned businesses are facing the same problem, right? That's where the first generation, the founder, are about to retire, and they want their children to come in and actually take over the business. But the challenge here is a lot of their children, the second generation, even though they were born in China, but they were educated and they grew up in the U.S. or in some foreign countries. So when they come back home, they're actually not that interested in their parents' business, which oftentimes are in the traditional sector, for example, hat manufacturing or shoe manufacturing. They actually want to do something more interesting, more fun, right? Like IT-driven companies or investments. So what we're seeing, especially in the southern part of China, like Jiangsu and Zhejiang province, where there's a lot of family-owned business, is that the parents will actually hire a professional company to run the firm, right? And then instead liquidate a part of shares in the family, and then use that money to help their children to become, say, limited partners of a venture capital firm, right? So help them to become investors in other firms. So this is one of the solutions that we're seeing here.
Definitely. A lot of times having their son or daughter run their business is actually not the best solution. You should hire the most qualified people instead of your bloodlines, right?
That's right. Yeah, we've actually done a study that tried to compare, which type of company is more productive and more profitable. Is it, your second generation run family, or is it better if you hire a professional CEO to manage the company? And what we find is, with the family owned firms, if you let your daughter or son to take over the family, the communication becomes easier, right? And there's a higher level of trust among the key members of family. But in terms of the accounting performance, for example, the professionally run family companies are actually doing better.
That's a really good point. Well, folks, small and medium-sized enterprises are seen as China's economic backbone. As the country seeks to upgrade its economic model, innovation instead of labor has become an increasingly important part for future success. Well, that's all for this edition of New Money. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you so much, Professor Jia, for all your insights and your time.
Thank you, Tracy.
If you have an interesting business case to tell, make sure to email us at newmoney@cctv.com. Folks, we'll see you again at the same time next week.